Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtuprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So continuing with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter. So today we'll try to discuss 5 verses, texts 18 through 22. That's the theme for today. So continuing with the questions that the sages at Naimisharanya are asking, Sutta Goswami. Look at all the wonderful questions they are asking. And ultimately, they are all coming down to tell us about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. So text 18. Atha kyahi harer dhiman avatar katha shubha lila vidadhata swaram ishwarasyatma mayaya. O wise Suta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord, the Supreme Controller, are performed by his internal powers. So they all knew that all the pastimes of the Lord are controlled, are enacted by his internal powers, by his spiritual potency. There's no material potency there. It's all spiritual energy. They're all pastimes, lila, not like we do karma. So for the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead himself appears in many thousands of forms of incarnations, and the specific adventures found in those transcendental forms are all auspicious. All the pastimes are of every incarnation is auspicious. Auspicious in the sense it removes or takes away our desire to enjoy or be the controller in this material world. That's a specific purpose of these pastimes. We should understand Krishna is the supreme controller, and we cannot enjoy here. We can only enjoy in the spiritual world. Text 19 is very sweet verse. Vayam tu na vitripyama uttam shloka vikrame yachranvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. This is a specific characteristic of a devotee. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationship with him, they relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. The word that came in the shloka is swadu swadu pade pade. Swadu swadu. They relish at every moment, at every step of their life. They relish the pastimes, relish hearing about Krishna, relish chanting the names of Krishna. And look at our lifestyle or look at our position. When we chant, first of all, we hardly chant, we try to finish our rounds, first of all. And that too, as soon as 16 rounds of whatever quota we have taken, those are over, okay, we leave the bead bag. I don't want to see you again today. We'll see you tomorrow. Because we don't relish chanting the names, we don't relish hearing the pastimes. Give you an example. Srila Prabhupada, once in New Vrindavan, I believe it was 72 or 73, something like that. New Vrindavan was like the headquarters in USA at that time. So all the devotees would assemble there for major festivals. So they were celebrating Janmashtami. So all the devotees were there, so many sannyasis were there from ISKCON. And Prabhupada, it was Janmashtami day, and at the night, say around 11:30, something like that, Prabhupada sat down in the temple hall on his Vyasasana, and he asked one of his disciples to start reading the Krishna book. So the disciple started reading the first chapter of Krishna book. I don't remember what's the name of the chapter. So first chapter he read, and Prabhupada was sitting erect at that age, advanced age, and at the middle of the night. And as when the chapter finished, and he was listening with rapt attention, when the chapter finished, he said, next, means order for the devotee to start reading the next chapter. So the devotee started reading the next chapter. And next chapter is very long. It's the prayers by the demigods to the womb of Devaki. When we read these chapters, we feel, there's no juice in that, because we want some pastime, some fighting, some leelas. But prayers by the demigods, come on. Prabhupada was listening with, again, rapt attention, with full devotion. And the devotees all around him, they were feeling sleepy, tired, because they had been working whole day and fasting. And now they were sleeping, feeling sleepy. And sannyasis, it is said, the sannyasis, they were sitting, but they were feeling drowsy, and the dandas were trying to fall, and they're somehow trying to stand up. Anyway, that chapter finished. And third chapter, and then when that chapter finished, Prabhupada said, next. Now that was the birth of Lord Krishna, that was the chapter. And the devotee started reading that chapter. And by the time that chapter finished, pretty much everybody in the audience was on the floor sleeping. And Prabhupada was the only one listening with rapt attention, still enjoying each and every word of that book. And then when that chapter finished, Prabhupada looked around, he said, I think we have to stop. we should continue with the celebrations. The point to make is not to put down all those wonderful devotees who were working very hard the whole day, and they were fasting. So obviously they didn't have any energy left. But Prabhupada, he showed by his example how much a devotee relishes hearing about these pastimes. How much a devotee relishes chanting the names of Krishna. The Haridas Thakur would chant 192 rounds, minimum, every day. That's amazing. 3 lakh names every day. And he would not get tired. And besides chanting, he would also, because Mahaprabhu's order was to him to go out and preach, he would preach also. He would do other duties also and chant. Like that, he was really relishing those names. Names of Krishna is not different from Krishna. All the energies of Krishna are there in these names. But we don't relish because we don't have that taste. We haven't developed that relationship with Krishna, in Krishna's name. So whole idea about this Srimad Bhagavatam, reading of Srimad Bhagavatam and the process of devotion service is for us to develop a taste for hearing and chanting and service. That's all. So these things, when we develop a taste, to hear, chant, serve, so same thing will continue in the spiritual world when we leave the body. If we have a little taste to enjoy this body or enjoy this material world, then we'll remain here as long as we haven't developed the taste for Krishna's name or Krishna's pastimes. It's simple as that. The philosophy is very simple. It's just the implementation is little difficult. That's all. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport, there is a great difference between mundane stories, fiction or history, and the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The histories of the whole universe contain references to the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord. The Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Puranas are histories of bygone ages recorded in connection with the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord, and therefore remain fresh even after repeated readings. Just to, if we look at the stories of Ramayana, Ramayana was enacted by Lord Ram. He did his pastimes in Treta Yuga. Let me mute him. He performed his pastimes in Treta Yuga. And if we do the calculations, before this Kali Yuga was Dwapar Yuga, which was 8,64,000 years. And before that was Treta Yuga, 12,96,000 years. So even if we rough calculation, Lord Ram did his pastimes about 20 lakh years ago. If he did in this Treta Yuga, 20 lakh years ago. And since those performance of those pastimes, people have been reading Ramayana with Valmiki Rishi wrote for 20 lakh years. And they're still relishing, they're tasting, they're enacting the pastimes of Lord Ram, they're doing the plays and not getting tired of it. And Tulsidas ji in this, about whatever 500-600 years ago, he wrote Ramcharitmanas. And people are relishing those books also, whatever Tulsidas ji wrote. And people relish Ramayana also. 20 lakh years. Same Ramayana, it hasn't changed. Same story, same everything. But because it is related to Lord Ram, it is very relishable, very tasty, very sweet. Earlier days, when we were little, we used to have this Ram Leela, October, November, whatever time. And we used to gather around and watch Ram Leela. They were all, they were not professional artists who were doing this Ram Leela. But we all would sit there and watch and relish and enjoy the pastimes of Hanuman, how he's killing and this, that, whatever. People are still relishing. Can even imagine any sportsman or any movie actor's name being sung after he leaves his body, being sung after 100 years even after he leaves his body? Nobody even bothers to remember those people. Right now, they might be very big stars. But look at Lord Ram's pastime, 20 lakh years ago, and still people are relishing, and they will continue relishing. They continue describing his pastimes. So that is the proof that these pastimes are Amrit. They're immortal and always fresh, always giving taste. For example, anyone may read Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam repeatedly throughout his life and yet find in them new light of information. Mundane news is static, whereas transcendental news is dynamic. Prabhupada, although he used the word dynamic here, but once with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhupada, about the relationship of a jiva with Supreme Lord, Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked, is that relationship static? Means, is that relationship just one, or can the jiva change? But Prabhupada, he answered it differently. Prabhupada said, it's not static, it's ecstatic. The relationship is full of ecstasy, it's bliss. So similarly, the transcendental news can be called there ecstatic, because they are full of love and sweetness. Those who have developed a taste for understanding the transcendental subject matter are never tired of hearing such narrations. One is quickly satiated by mundane activities, but no one is satiated by transcendental or devotional activities. So this is a quality, superior quality of devotional activities, is no one gets satiated, no one gets tired. Physically we might get tired, but the spiritual, the soul really wants to relish more and more and more and more. Uttam Shloka indicates that literature which is not meant for nescience. Uttam means above the Tamagun, or which takes us even above the Tamagun. Means that literature which is not for nescience, not for ignorance. Mundane literature is in the mode of darkness or ignorance, whereas transcendental literature is quite different. Transcendental literature is above the mode of darkness, and its light becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization of the transcendental subject matter. And its light becomes more luminous. It's bright, but the light becomes more luminous because more we read, more we serve, more we chant, more we associate, then we get more purified and we get better realization. So same shloka or same purport, same books, when we read again and again and again, we find new and new meanings, new and new realizations. This is a amazing quality of the transcendental literature. The so-called liberated persons are never satisfied by the repetition of the words Aham Brahmasmi. But those so-called liberated persons, that's what Prabhupada is writing. Such artificial realization of Brahman becomes hackneyed. And so to relish real pleasure, they turn to the narrations of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are not so fortunate turn to altruism and worldly philanthropy. This means the Mayavadi philosophy is mundane, whereas the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental. Many times people, they run away from Bhagavad Gita reading. Yeah, it's all philosophy, it's not juicy. But no, once we really develop a taste to relish Bhagavad Gita, it's full of nectar actually. But Bhagavad Gita means Gita, the song of Bhagwan, song of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is full of taste. Like Vallabhacharya has written this beautiful song, Adhram Madhuram, Rasanam Madhuram. Everything that is related to the Supreme Lord is Madhur. Madhur means sweet. It's very sweet. Even his coming is sweet, his going is sweet, his walking is sweet, his sitting down is sweet, his sleeping is sweet, his getting up is sweet, his killing is sweet, his eating is sweet. Everything about Krishna is sweet, because he's sweetness personified. So the song about him is also sweet. Bhagavad Gita is also very, very sweet. It depends how we realize it, how much we taste it. So more we read, more we, while reading or before, after reading, we do the service, we do our chanting, then we'll realize it or we'll relish it more and more. Text 20. Kritvan kil karmani saharamen keshavaha atimartyani bhagavana guda kapat manushaha. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balram, played like a human being. And so, masked, he performed many superhuman acts. So now, again, they're coming back to the stories of Krishna. I mean, they want to hear more about Krishna. So here they're saying, Lord Shri Krishna and along with his brother Balram, they played just like a human being. And they masked their many superhuman acts, because they were performing the Leelas. Prabhupada is writing, the doctrines of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Shri Krishna or the personality of Godhead. The theory that a man becomes God by dint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. Since Lord Ram, Lord Krishna and Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were detected by the sages and saints to be the personality of Godhead as indicated in revealed scriptures, many unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. This process of concocting an incarnation of God has become an ordinary business, especially in Bengal. Well, at that time it could be only in Bengal, but now it's all over the world. Everybody wants to become God. But this is what Prabhupada is writing or mentioning, that Krishna was always God. He never became God. When he was born, he was God. When he performed his pastimes, he was God. Although he performed his pastime just like normal human being, but there were superhuman activities which he masked, which he just completely covered. Why did he cover? Two reasons. For the atheists not to understand that he is God, and for the devotees not to think that he is God, because otherwise they will not relish the pastimes properly. So only the sages or the acharyas, they understand pastimes of Krishna and they write it down for future generations, for people like us to understand the position of Krishna properly. And all his pastimes, if we look, if we get into details, we will understand his pastimes are not ordinary. They're all superhuman pastimes. From the time of his taking birth to the point in Prabhashetra when he wound up his pastimes, every single pastime is superhuman. Of course, if we speak with some atheist or one who's not a devotee of the Lord, then they're, oh, Krishna, he is just ordinary cowherd boy, lusty after somebody else's woman and this and that. They don't understand the position of Krishna. Or sometimes the people also say, I am Krishna, I'm God. Just like, because people who say, no, this aham brahmasmi or so aham, that I am him, I am God. So one such person, some so-called sadhu, he came to meet Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he was sitting in his room and he was saying, aham brahmasmi, I am him, I am that. Well, he went to the wrong person actually. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he asked his servant who was cooking, he said, why don't you bring some burning coals from the stove? Because that time it wasn't gas, they used to cook on the coals. And because Bhagwan has come, so Bhagwan Krishna, he swallowed the forest fire. So let him swallow these burning coals and let me see how big a Bhagwan he is. And when the servant brought those burning coals from the stove, that sadhu just ran away. He said, I cannot do that. So why do this, all this drama baji of I'm Brahmasmi and I'm God. We are nobodies. But Krishna, he can perform all these pastimes. This is like we're talking about swallowing the forest fire. He did that easily, without any, I mean, Herculean, it wasn't even a Herculean task for him. So that way he makes it look so easy. Then people also claim, that's why some people say, oh, it's all mythology, it cannot happen. This is just some fictional stories, as if Vedvyas had nothing better to do than to write some fictional novels, like Sidney Sheldon novels. Vedvyas, he also wrote some novels. And Sutta Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami, who's described so nicely by all the liberated sages, and they are asking them to to narrate the pastimes, as if Sukadeva Goswami and Sutta Goswami had nothing better to do than to discuss some mundane gossips. Or let's sit down and talk some mythological stories. This is nonsense. These are the pastimes. Like Prabhupada also wrote about Puranas. Puranas means the historical stories. History means these things happened. And this is one of the words people, even in a school curriculum, this is used very much, and people speak it very stylishly. Oh, Hindu mythology, Greek mythology, and this and that mythology. Why the mythology? Is this mythology? Is it a myth? Pastimes of Krishna, Ram, Narsimhadev, is it a myth? Myth means fictional stories. And for them, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, they're all okay. They are real characters because they show it nicely in the movies. Those are mythical stories. Those are fiction. But Krishna is not fiction. So if anybody tells you that this is Hindu mythology, if you can slap him, fine. Otherwise, at least try to defeat him by logic. This is not mythology. This is history. This is a scriptures, the history. So at least we should respect that. And by listening and by hearing, by talking about these scriptures, these history, these pastimes, all the sages, they're relishing. We also relish. We get realization. We get purified. We don't get purified by listening to the activities of Superman or Batman or Spider-Man or Iron Man or whatever man. We get liberated by listening to the stories of Lion Man, which is Lord Narsingadev. Those are the real. man. So I'll stop here and ask anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to ask this mention of the doctrine
Homomorphism.
zoomorphism. This is what Prabhupada explains in the next line, the theory that man becomes God.
Yeah.
That is called
Or,
anthropomorphism.
yeah. Anthro means man, it gets transformed into God. Morphism means a transformation. Zoomorphism means any animal can become God.
Okay.
But
Animal
that's,
also can become God.
I mean, people say.
Okay. And what about the Puranas, Prabhu? Puranas are history, we know. But sometimes people say Puranas, there are some stories which are not.
Well, see, the stories in Puranas are of the bygone ages. So they cannot relate with those stories. Just like if you listen to stories of Ramayana,
Right.
that happened in Treta Yuga. Now, if you look at Jatayu, how he was speaking with Ravan, how he fought with Ravan, nowadays we don't find any eagle doing all these things. So they say it's all mythology because they can relate with those stories. Or Hanumanji expanding himself and jumping from India to Sri Lanka. They cannot relate. 800 miles, who can just jump? Which monkey you have seen who can jump? Because they cannot relate, they say it's not real, it's all fictional. But it's
Right.
not fictional.
No, the Purana, the Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are epics. Like they have a very continuous way in which the whole story has been described. So we can accept, even if we are not able to relate to certain incidents, we can still accept that it happened because we have so many evidences. But in Purana, the stories which are described, maybe the evidences are not left anymore. There are no relics. Because in some sampradayas, some people say that not all of them are necessarily things which happen. Maybe some of them are created in order to convey a truth. Is that true?
No, no. Just like now, if you read Nursing Puran, Lord Nrsimha's stories.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, he came out of that pillar. Have you ever seen a person coming out of a pillar and then killing such a big demon? Because they cannot conceive, they cannot, because we are trying to understand with our poor, limited knowledge, limited brains, tiny brains. We have to get this knowledge from the disciplic succession in a descending manner.
Okay.
Then we understand properly. Other stories are there. Puranas, like Varaha Purana has the stories of Varahadev. Okay, how many times we can think of a boar coming out of the nostril of a person and becoming so huge, it pretty much covers the whole universe.
We can't.
We can't. So that doesn't mean, well, Lord Varahadev didn't appear like that. He did.
Yeah.
Just because it's beyond our understanding or perception doesn't mean these are wrong. For example, even in living in this material world, if somebody in a village, some computer scientist, you go to a village, person in village, you say, oh, America has such wonderful computers, they can do so many calculations in a second. They have wonderful cars which can even fly in the sky. And he'll say, what nonsense you're talking. I can only see my bullock cart which goes from this place to that place in 5 hours. Well, his perception is limited, his knowledge is limited. But that doesn't mean America doesn't have those things. It has. So that's why Prabhupada used to tell them, no, Kupa Manduk, frog in the well. They cannot understand beyond their own capabilities.
Yeah. You have to read a lot.
Read with conviction that they are right. Stories are right. That's all.
Like when we read Upanishads, I read one or two Upanishads, they're very inspiring. Puranas are also interesting, the way they have been written. But like when we hear this kind of opinions from other sampradayas, I heard some people from different sampradayas talking like that. So we should not take these suggestions, right?
No, no. That's why if we think we can get deviated, better stick to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has given us everything.
Good morning. हाँ जी बस अभी पहुंचे.
Prabhuji,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. It's a very silly question though, but I would like to hear from you. The question is, we have a faith on Krishna, and there are many people who are actually totally dependent on Krishna. They don't even think about their future or anything. So now my question is, yes, we do have faith in Krishna, but still we get scared of a lot of things. I mean, anxieties, and we get tensed. What happened to our job? What will happen? In future, all these things we get scared and afraid. So, how to get over of these things, and do we really need to be afraid of things? Uh, I mean, though we know that yes, Krishna is there to protect us, to help us, but still the anxiety is there. So I want to know how to overcome.
Many things are there. First of all, in Krishna, we have to, when we develop faith, we better take baby steps. Let it develop gradually, organically, slowly. Looking at somebody else's example, or we might not be at the same level of realizations, we cannot imitate him or her. It might give a bad taste in our mouth if something goes wrong. So yes, same time we have to worry about our job. We have to take care of jobs nicely, duties nicely. But let the faith grow slowly, slowly, slowly. It will be better. Otherwise, we might lose the faith altogether if something goes wrong. And regarding the job or the other positions, if we look at it mundane, astrologically also, whatever is in our destiny, it's going to happen anyway. I'm not saying don't do the work properly. We have to do the duties, but it's going to happen. Whatever is going to happen, it's going to happen. But at the same time, we do our duties, and when we are in the on the path of bhakti, we do our bhakti process properly, and Krishna will take care. He says, "Ye yatham mam prapadyante tasathaiva bhajami." As much as we surrender unto him, he takes care of it accordingly. So it's all up to our surrender. He will take care, but he will take care accordingly. If you're fully surrendered, then he completely controls the devotee, that devotee. But we are not at that level. So we surrender, we have faith, slowly, slowly we surrender more. At the same time, we take care of our job, our household activities, our health, our relationships, everything we have to work on it properly. It's a common saying, have faith in the Lord, but still lock your car.
Okay.
We don't want Krishna to come down and protect our car. Come on, he has better things to
Absolutely.
do.
Absolutely. So it reminds me one incident when Radha Prabhu was driving so fast, and he said, Krishna is there to protect me. Then I told him that we cannot go on 8th floor and jump, and we can't expect Krishna to come and protect us.
Radha Prabhu is on a very high platform. I draw inspiration from him all the time, but I cannot imitate him either.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.